Assalamu alaikum guys, in this new tutorial we will learn Laravel from scratch. And before starting or while planning for this tutorial, I was searching actually for a good Laravel developers roadmap like this. So how can I start and so on. And I found this great roadmap actually from this blog, and I will leave this link in the descriptions. And I opened the image here, this roadmap here. Looks great actually and high quality. And as we can see, we must start, as you know, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, basics of PHP and OOP, and then working maybe a little bit with databases, and then installing Composer. So if you don't know Composer, Composer is a package manager for PHP here called Composer. You can install it very easy actually. There is tons of resources for installing it, right? It's very easy to install. And then after installing it here, we can start using it for creating a new Laravel project. So first of all, we will open our terminal and we will say Bismillah to start. So I will say here cd learn. This is my favorite directory actually, and I will say make dir Laravel from scratch here. And I will create a new Laravel project. So after installing a Composer, you will run this command and you must see these results. And now it lists the commands that are available using with Composer. And if you see, there is a command called create project, and it creates a new project. So if we want to create a new Laravel project, we must run here Composer create project here. And if we open packages which Composer takes data from or packages from, we search for Laravel here. You will see we need to create a new Laravel project, and here is a formula to create a new Laravel project. So you can say here create project Laravel / Laravel here, Laravel, and then we will select our name or adding our project name. If you don't add it, by default it will create a new project called Laravel. So I want to add it. Call it here learn Laravel, then hit enter. After that, it will create a new Laravel project. So if I open it in my Finder here, you will see learn Laravel here, our project. We want to dive into it. So I will say ls here, and I will say cd into learn Laravel project. And now let's open it using VS Code. Now we open it. As we can see, Laravel by default contains these folders and some files. And one of the important files, or the skeleton of this Laravel project, is something called .env. This file .env defines the environment variable for our Laravel project. And for now, basic information. As we can see, by default, our Laravel name, or this Laravel new project, by default project name is Laravel, so we can change it to anything we want. So I will say learned, for example, here, and the app environment. So Laravel has multiple environment for developing. We may, for our local machine, it's called local. For maybe staging a server, for testing a server, it's called staging or development, and for production, it's called production. So we must change it according to the environment we use. So by default now it's local. Something called app key, generated key here by Laravel, and this app debug for allowing the Laravel application to show errors to us for debugging it and fixing error. And here is the app URL. So from this URL here, we can access to our application. So if I set it here, I open it in my browser, it doesn't work. So to run your Laravel application, there is something called PHP artisan commands in Laravel. If you hit it, it has also some predefined commands for Laravel. We will talk about it later. So now to start serving or the server of our Laravel application, we can run PHP artisan here and serve. Hit enter. Now our server is running on this localhost and this port here. And if I copy paste it here, now it works correctly. That's great. So congratulations, you have created and start serving your first Laravel application. After that, we have some logging. We will talk about it later. Then we have the information about our database. So here we define our database type that we use, maybe MySQL, maybe Postgres, maybe MariaDB, and here is the host of database and database port, by default 3306 here, and also by default our database we use is Laravel and MySQL username and the MySQL password, so we'll talk about it later, and some other variables here we don't need to learn about them now for beginner. So that's quickly what's Laravel and the structure of a .env file. We will talk about these folders one by one during the tutorials and in other videos. If you found it useful, support me by clicking on like, share and subscribe. See you in next video.